Welcome to this month's edition of The Art Spot. And we're joined by the fabulous Olivia Locher. I've got my tea, we're in her studio, and we're about to get the exclusive on her newest work. Okay, first off, I haven't seen you in how long? It's been months.
I feel like it's been 4 or 5 months.
It's been
maybe
too long.
Longer.
Been too long.
Yeah.
But I want let's start off this interview. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, how you started, what made you first pick up a camera.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'm 23 years old, and I was born in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. It's a small town located near Pittsburgh. I was homeschooled. So during homeschool, I kind of found the camera as a tool, and I started doing a lot of shoots with friends, just playing dress up mostly. And I found I really liked it. So then I decided art school was maybe a good idea. And I looked into art school options. I'm a recent graduate of School of Visual Arts.
And that's where we met.
Right.
A lot of people may not know this, but we met, I think, on day one.
Very first day.
Yeah, of our whole SVA experience.
And we jumped in together and really got our hands dirty.
I remember our first attempt at studio photography.
Yeah.
We just we didn't know anything about the lighting.
No.
Or the regulations of how you had to book a studio. We just went, showed up at 11 o'clock at night, and we're like, we want a studio.
With a huge gang of people, too. We were a whole team.
So it's safe to say I think we were a menace since day one.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a good kind of a menace. We were a creative menace. But
right.
But ever since that day, I feel like we've creatively kind of connected and respected one another.
I agree.
So I don't know, it's this is one of the friendships I kind of cherish, especially during my time at SVA.
Same here, and it was so special, too, having such a close relationship throughout school, being that the program's so small.
Right.
Being able to see everybody's developments.
And which kind of brings me to where you first started. When I first met you, your work was very, I would say, heavily inspired by Ryan McGinley.
Sure.
Even some of the earlier work when we were, I believe we showed together at the Swiss Institute.
Right, yes.
And some of that work was kind of not heavily, but it was inspired by a little bit by Ryan McGinley.
Right.
And now to kind of see your evolution as an artist and to grow, and now you've moved in a different direction. Can you kind of tell the viewers a little bit about how that evolution occurred? And
definitely. It's interesting how your influences change as you grow older. I feel like studying the medium of photography, you naturally get interested in different practices. Now I find myself influenced a lot by filmmaking. I really respond to Kenneth Anger's films and Matthew Barney's work.
Fantastic.
Also photographers like Lucas Samaras, Wolfgang Tillmans.
Have you seen Matthew Barney's latest at BAM?
Definitely, yeah, River of Fundament.
It was fantastic.
Beautiful piece,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something so poetic about everything that he does. It's
right.
For me, I have to watch, and I'm someone that usually kind of is very intuitive, will get it, but with him, I have to watch it several times. There's always something. There's a new discovery. I think that's what's so refreshing about his work. And I see that in your work. There's always something that I may have missed, and I'm like, there's always these little hidden gems. Aside from being influenced by filmmakers like Matthew Barney, were you influenced by anything else, like fashion per se?
As a child, yes. Fashion was the most easily accessible thing for me to get my hands on. Just looking at magazines and seeing what photographers were doing with fashion. I wasn't really very conscious of art as a child, so fashion kind of came first for me. Mm. And I guess in my early work, I'd try to imitate what I'd see in magazines. So that's sort of how I found making work of my own.
Given your fashion influences, it only makes sense that this most recent Fashion Week, you were seen photographing everyone from Marc Jacobs to Tom Brown, all for W Magazine and T Magazine. How did that feel?
It felt great. It was the biggest workload that I ever had during New York Fashion Week. In the past, I always kind of tried to find my own way in. Maybe not in the most secure ways, but I just wanted to be in the action.
Right.
So this time, It was different, but it was really wonderful. It felt good being able to be there.
How different was the workflow from your normal workflow, where you're here in the studio and you're able to kind of be the head of the creative direction, as opposed to now you're being told, get this shot. Was it different?
I felt like it was very similar, just because the only direction I was really given was just to capture the beauty look. So I kind of took a fly-on-the-wall approach and just kind of viewed Fashion Week as a quiet individual just looking in, kind of as an observer.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I loved about your Fashion Week photographs, they were very you. They were very unique, very raw, but very fun at the same time. You were very playful, like you are in some of your imagery, but yet there was a serious undertone in some of them. They were beautifully taken, and they were, I think, perhaps the most interesting Fashion Week photographs I've seen in a while.
Oh, thank you.
It's fascinating to see a photographer whose style is very kind of their own, adapting it to a work assignment, essentially.
Sure.
Do you have any advice for photographers that are looking to kind of apply their own aesthetic to personal work assignments?
I think just stay true to yourself and really follow your vision. Make the pictures first that you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you see something humorous, humor always comes up in my work. So if I see a humorous moment, of course, that's what I'll gravitate towards. I feel like you have to know what makes you tick and make those photos first. All my work starts from ideas. I'm very impulsive with image making. Once I get an idea that I trust, which is often, I immediately want to jump in and do it and turn it into an actual thing. So I'm always impulsively making work. And I think it comes a lot with discipline. Discipline's important in my life. Doing transcendental meditation, I believe, also helps these ideas come. With my practice, I find it crucial to be constantly producing while also honing craft and technique. It's making images and looking at images, living with your work. And by living with your work, hanging it on the walls, I believe then you know what fits together. And that makes that editing process that much easier. And then the works that don't fit in this series, they become the foundation to create future work.
So tell the viewers a little bit about your current project, I Fought the Law. How did that come about? What kind of inspired you to get that going?
Initially, I Fought the Law came from hearing about the laws. A friend brought it up to me in conversation before that having an ice cream cone in your back pocket was illegal. And I just found that so visual, and I knew that could translate well in the photograph. And then I went about researching other absurd laws in America. And it so happens that there's a lot of them that are still in the books. It's too expensive to remove them from the books, so a lot of places decide to let them remain and just keep existing. I don't have information on if they're still enforced, but reading about them, I decided I wanted to make a picture for each U.S. state to go along with the laws.
So I Fought the Law was published through Feature Shoot and the Huffington Post, as well as other various news outlets. Are you surprised by the positive reaction towards the work?
Well, I wasn't expecting it. Feature Shoot was the place that initially wanted to post it. And then after that, it seemed like a lot of places kind of caught on and also posted what they were posting. So it was surprising.
Do you feel like the work was something that America as a general public could easily identify with? Do you feel that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you feel the humor of it is what kind of resonated with the public? The absurdity almost of the laws themselves. I
believe that's maybe why people found it interesting. Originally, I wasn't making the work thinking of any sort of audience. So I believe the humor is probably what caught people. And maybe just also how absurd it is that these are laws, or when were they started, when did they come into the picture?
So we have I Fought the Law, which has a humorous take on it, but yet talking about something very serious, talking about kind of the judicial system and how the laws work in our country. Then you kind of shift from that to your current film project, Sun in My Mouth, which is a little bit more experimental and it's very different from what you've usually done in the past. How did that come about?
I think just wanting to tell more of a story, and also putting ideas into motion, working with larger groups of people. And The Sun in My Mouth's a 4-part visual opera, and it moves through a calendar year's 4 seasons. The story's about a cult of women who worship this woman, Aurora, and the film shows their interactions with her.
So what fascinated you about the cult genre?
Well, daily rituals that I practice in my own life. One of those being meditation, which is a common occurrence in the film. Everybody in the film is trying to reach a higher consciousness, and they believe Aurora could give them that power. So the film focuses a lot on the group's daily rituals. There's actually no script. The whole film is just very ritual-based, body language-based.
Is it more of an organic environment? You kind of let the actors kind of play off what the initial story is?
Yeah, the whole film's based off of performances, so things happen very naturally. We do very long filming sessions where we all live together for a period of time and make the work as a big group.
Now, the house that you used to film in, where were you able to start filming?
It's actually a Frank Lloyd Wright house, and it's in Pennsylvania. I saw the house, and I pictured it being a great communal living space. And everybody works together. I picture them all like bees in a hive, all trying to do their jobs and reach their purpose.
How far has production on the film gone?
Well, since it's seasonal, I film every season. And actually, each season, it focuses on women who live elsewhere, but they still follow Aurora's rules and guidelines without even meeting her.
I want to thank our viewers for joining us on this edition of The Art Spot, and thank our special guest, Miss Olivia Locher.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, darling, for joining us. And for more of her work, please visit olivialocher.com. We're out of wine, so we've got to go.
Let's
Thank you, my dear.
go. Thank you.
Cheers. See you
Cheers.
next time. Out of wine.
Thanks. Bye.
Gracias y bienvenidos.
Thank you for joining us. This has been another production from Russia. I'm really good at accents. Where's my German?
Oh my god, that was brilliant. That's it. Join us next week for our next month or whatever the fuck we both the next video.
People in Russia, though. Thank you for joining us from Russia.
For more of her work, join us at Say It in Russian.
OliviaLocher.com.
We didn't pay our electricity bill. We're so sorry.
Y'all, it's very hard. I'm rude to just do accents. What is German? I have to think about it for a second. Do you like Wolfgang Tillmans? You just have to spend. Okay, come on, guys. We're at 45 frames. Let's do